What's up, dudes? It's a Vigorous Q&A again, this time on Sunday, because yesterday I wanted to spend some time with my wife. Because, well, I'm flying to the United States, Las Vegas to be exactly. 6 hours, well, 6 hours from now I leave to the airport. I fly at 9:40 in the morning. So I won't be getting any sleep, maybe 1 hour before I go. But we're going to do a Vigorous Q&A, get the job done. But yesterday I wanted to spend some time with my wife. And today was all fasting, no food, so I can prep for the 23-hour journey to Las Vegas. All right. Let's do a couple updates, because there are many. Last week we had the Mirabegron deep dive, bombed. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Horrible. All the research, all the self-experimentation with Mirabegron and salbutamol, Mirabegron and clenbuterol, Mirabegron by itself, switching to clenbuterol and then salbutamol, and doing all these crazy experiments for nobody to watch. So if you haven't watched it yet, it's linked down below. Do me a solid. Bring up the view count, because we don't do all of these self-experimentations for no views, okay? Anabolic Roundtable episode 5 got a buttload of views, because we did the anabolic tier list, and that was a great success. So next time, next month, let's say end of October, we'll do the anabolic tier list for the oral steroids, and then we might do the IFBB Pro educator tier list. Who of the IFBB pros is the smartest? We're probably going to piss off some people. But we'll do a tier list for IFBB pros who are worth following, because it seems that most educators in our space are not IFBB pros. So we're going to rank the IFBB pros who are knowledgeable according to a tier list. Yeah, we'll create a lot of enemies, I'm sure. Gorilla Mode Fruit Punch is still on discount, 30% off with code Vigorous. Direct link down below. Olympia University is going to be on Saturday, October 12th from 1 to 2 p.m. I'm a part of the TRT plus PD panel, part 1, that is. And if you want to join in, it's 30% discount with discount code SPEAKER30. Again, the direct link to Dominator Game for Olympia University is also linked down below. So instead of $100, it's $70 for the whole weekend. So you have a boatload of panels on Friday and Saturday. I'm just doing one panel for 1 hour Saturday at 1 to 2 p.m., the TRT and PD panel. And so if you just want to talk to me, just come to the booth. Right, come to the expo, come talk to me there. But if you want to be part of the Olympia University and listen to all the guest speakers talk there, then 30% off with discount code SPEAKER30. Chase Irons and Friends, booth 201. It's directly off the entrance, right behind the mutant booth. You'll see the mutant booth first on the left side. That's my left. And then right behind it is booth 201, Chase Irons and Friends. And since I'm a friend of Chase Irons, I'll be there for the majority of the time, unless I have to be at the Olympia University, or I'm cheering for Wesley Vissers when he's going on stage for the not the Arnold Classic, for the Classic Physique prejudging at the Expo. So most of the time I'll be at booth 201, chilling out. Hope to see all of you there, and come joining in. That will be the moment to get your live Vigorous Q&A in, because this is the reason why you go to the booth, to answer, or to go to the Expo to meet all of you guys and answer all of those questions. I'm happy to announce that I'm now an affiliate with Mother Aminos. Yes, and since everybody's been asking me for sources, I republished the Control F source list. You'll have to go to my website to get it, though, or through my link tree through Instagram, and that's all I'm going to say about it. So if you want a 10% discount on DADA, right, diisopropylamine acetate, or 5-amino-1-MQ, or SLU-PP332, or bottle of injectable pre-workouts, Modern Aminos has got you covered. A 10% discount is available through my website as well. Thank you, Chase Irons, for hooking me up. Chase Irons is one of my friends. And we have a boatload of questions from last week, because last week it was my birthday, and I didn't do any PD questions. So we have a boatload now that we're going to have to go through. This is the reality of the game. But let's start with the membership questions. And then in the next 30 minutes or so, I'll probably be catching up with all the, the previous week's questions and the member questions. So let's get started. D-Bread. Can you ramp up your HCG dose to 5,000 to 1,000 milligrams every day? I think you mean international units, IUs. At the end of a cycle to increase PCT likelihoods, I just want to get through the bottle wondering if it was okay. Yeah, you can do that. But again, you're just responsive to HCG, and the luteinizing hormone that you're going to produce by following a post-cycle therapy, you will never come as close to 1,000 IUs HCG. That's why 1,000 IUs HCG is superior to any kind of endogenous luteinizing hormone that you're going to produce. So I would rather just run 250, 325, 500 IUs HCG, keep it there, take it out 1 or 2 weeks before starting the selective estrogen receptor modulators to let your testosterone levels and estrogen levels decline, and then there's no negative feedback on your HPTA when you block the estrogen receptors with enclomiphene, clomid, tamoxifen, Novadex, tormorphine, whatever you prefer. So no need to blast it if you've been running it all the way through. But if you didn't run HCG all the way through, then yes, you might need to blast it just to kickstart your testicles. And 2 weeks is usually not enough to cut it, but I have videos on this topic and the PCT ebook covering all of that. Can you shoot testosterone suspension sub-Q or dose it have to be intramuscular, and do you have to dilute water with the product? So I did Winstrol suspension sub-Q, and that worked just fine. And I'm sure testosterone suspension will work just fine sub-Q if you have a good product that is brewed properly. And maybe not more than 50 milligrams per 1 milliliter, because any higher concentration than that, it might crystallize and cause terrible post-injection pain. So my Sinazolol suspension was 50 milligrams per 1 milliliter. I did 0.3, or no, what is it? 0.1 something, 0.07 or something. Very small amount. I can't remember. I discontinued it a while ago. And it's at small injection volumes where, so no, what, I should be able to calculate this. What the fuck? I did 1 cc per week. 1 divided by 7, 0.15. That's what I did, 0.14. 14 IUs on the insulin syringe. So that went pretty well, right? But if you're going to do 100 milligrams testosterone suspension over 2 ml, then yeah, it might still cause some post-injection pain. All right. Let's catch up with the PD questions from last week. Right, I'm sorry that I didn't answer it last week, but it was my fucking birthday, so give me a fucking break, okay? And we lost monetization, but that's okay. I'm counting on super chats to keep the revenue going. Garage Philosophy asks, 350 milligrams testosterone anthate per week, progesterone is at 0.8 nanomoles, and estradiol is at 200. Wow. Going to increase the AI to 6.25 milligrams every other day. I'm assuming that's aromasin. Best way to fix progesterone. I don't think your progesterone is high. So let's leave it here. Do blood work again to bring your estradiol levels down to 40 to 50 picograms per milliliter. And then, yeah, but progesterone, there's nothing. If you're only taking testosterone, then where's the progesterone coming from? From pregnenolone? Eventually that will decline, right? Or maybe you have phenomenal mitochondrial function for pregnenolone synthesis, and thus progesterone levels go up. But I don't think it's anything to worry about. I would worry more about those estrogen levels. Mattis Whetstone asks, I took your advice. I've been taking 0.25 milliliters of 200 milligrams per 1 milliliter testosterone twice per week. So that's 100 milligrams per week. Going up, 100 milligrams per week. Going up to 450 milligrams per 1 milliliter. What do you suggest? Take a week. My test levels are 475. So you want to go from 100 milligrams per week to 450? I'm missing here. I'm missing something here. At 100 milligrams per week, your testosterone levels will be 475, that's for sure. But if you're going to 4x the dose, I would go to 150 for 2 or 3 months. Give that a try to maybe 200 milligrams per week for 2 or 3 months. Build it up slowly, man. 4xing your testosterone levels is brutal. Yeah, unless you're like me or Chase Irons and you can handle high testosterone levels without any issue. But I doubt you're the same as we are. David Frey asks, does EQ lower estradiol levels? Yes. Yes, I'm one of the first to talk about this. So yes, I have videos on my channel. I'm not going to search it because there's too many questions. You can do your own Googling on the Vigorous Q&A YouTube channel. Patty Meyer asks, currently on 175 milligrams testosterone, 91 Primo, 70 milligrams Anavar. Want to try Tren at 25 milligrams per week. Should I cut the Primo, add in the Tren, or just add the Tren on top? So you're already used to this cycle. I would just add in the Tren on top and take it from there. Take it from there because you need to keep your estrogen levels in range by taking a little bit of Primobolan, because even a small amount of progestogenic signaling from the Trenbolone might induce gyno. Yeah, that's what I got first time. That's why I ramped up the masteron dose with the Primobolan, and this time I didn't get any symptoms of gynecomastia. Johnny Pina asks, masteron anthate versus masteron propionate to add on top Tren and test. It doesn't really matter. whatever you prefer, whatever you like the injection frequency of. I've been using Master and Anathate with daily subcutaneous microadministrations, and my levels are super stable. And the concentration is higher, so I have to inject less oil. Huge anus. Yeah, I didn't catch that last week, but I caught it now after reading this or after preparing for the Vigorous Q&A. Huge Anus asks, 1 week into Tren Ace at 120 milligrams per week with 450 milligrams a test. Master on Primo, both at 500. Okay, so you're 1700 milligrams almost. Estradiol skyrocketed in blood work. Why is this? Well, because Tren detects as estradiol on non-sensitive estrogen testing. I just released a short about this yesterday. Tren is working though, yes. So next time you're going for blood work, do ultra-sensitive estradiol testing, liquid chromatography, tandem mass spectrometry, and then you see that your regular estradiol level is like 100 or 200 picograms per milliliter, but on the sensitive test, it's just 25. Because with this much Masteron and Primo for the testosterone that you have, I don't think that your estrogen is going to be any higher than 30. The Barbarian asks, Mrs. is going to run Anavar soon. 5 milligrams per day, split over 2 dosages, 2.5 milligrams morning and evening. Or maybe all pre-workout. Nice and tasty, juicy pumps. Currently shredded. Looking to gain. Any recommendations on ancillaries, DHEA, pregnenolone? Maybe 25 milligrams to DHEA, and pregnenolone kind of depends on her mitochondrial function. So a good start for her is if she's already shredded, looking to gain weight, then just 5 milligrams of R, 25 milligrams DHEA. And a good amount of food. Maybe 2 IU's growth hormone, 40 micrograms Clen. Keep that lean. Right? Clen is anabolic from 40 micrograms onwards, especially in women. So I cover all of this in the deep dives when it comes to women, which I released 3 years ago. Again, we're short on time, so you're going to have to find those yourself. Maros Knox asks, will draw blood on Monday. At which levels of LH and FSH is Clomid not necessary? Pre-TRT, LH was, let's say, 3. FSH was 3, 4. So if it's comparable then pre-TRT levels, then Clomid is not necessary. But if you're coming off, then your LH and FSH levels are probably 0. So let your TRT levels decline or whatever you're running, and then start the clomiphene, man. It's just part of the game. You're going to have to put some estrogen blockade in place for luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone levels to come back up, and it might take 4 to 6 weeks or even longer. Maurice also asks, it's been 21 days since my last testosterone injection. It's probably not enough. You might need 4 to 6 weeks for your exogenous testosterone levels to decline. 8 days since the last ACG injection and 19 days since the last 5 milligrams Anavar. I feel fine. This is normal. I'm just a superior specimen. No, it's normal because your levels are not declined yet. So once you start feeling like a little girl and you go to the gym, you get no pump, you get no pleasure, you get no enjoyment, and you want to go home, this is where you start the clomiphene, because that means that your testosterone has been metabolized, your HCG is completely metabolized, your serum testosterone and estradiol levels are bottomed out, and your Anavar is completely metabolized. And then you can start PCT with Clomid. Yeah, it sucks, but you're going to be patient. Benji has asked, if you were to do a fast mimicking diet for maximal fat loss, which fat loss drugs would you use? All of them. And I've documented this in many different videos on my YouTube channel. Just type in fasting and fasting for fat loss, and you get like 3 or 4 videos with boatloads of stacks in there. So it's the SLU PP332, the 5-amino-1-MQ, the cardarine, mirabegron or clenbuterol or salbutamol, whatever you prefer, growth hormone, GLP-1 receptor agonist, preferably Retatrutide, which has a GLP-1, which doesn't enhance fat loss, but GIP will help with adipose tissue, fatty acid metabolism in and out from adipose tissue. So if you're doing fasting mimicking diet, all the adipose tissue is, or all the fat is coming from out of the adipose tissue, and then the glucagon part of the Retatrutide will actually promote lipolysis, especially alongside growth hormone, through hormone-sensitive lipase, and by helping with the depletion of liver glycogen stores. And when liver glycogen stores are even lower, then insulin release is minimal, because there's no liver glycogen store left to help control blood sugar levels. And then the glycogen or the glucagon is going to work on adipose tissue, dumping fatty acids and triglycerides into the bloodstream to sustain blood glucose levels. Sorry, we're going to go through all of this very fast because there's so many questions, and we're way behind. Adrian Tunn, the Muscle Mania Pro from Singapore, good friend of mine, asks, hey, Big Steve, just want to say thank you for everything. My pleasure. Thank you all as well. Good to see you again in Bangkok a couple of weeks ago. Can I use Fluvoxamine and Prozac at the same time? No. You're going to have to choose one SSRI. To be honest, I've used Prozac for 6 months and now I don't feel any happier. Okay, so if Prozac is not working for you, you're going to have to taper that off and then switch to Fluvoxamine and taper that on. So you're going to have to taper the Prozac down and then taper the Fluvoxamine off because there's some overlap. And you can't just switch from one SSRI to the next. So if you were prescribed Prozac, please discuss this with your prescribing physician. Will probably agree with me. Say, okay, you have to take the Prozac out slowly. You have a little bit of a down period where you don't feel really good. And then you switch to Fluvoxamine and you give that a try. And then maybe if Fluvoxamine doesn't work, and then you have to look into Vortioxetine, right? Brintalex, which killed my dick faster than looking at somebody's grandma naked. Yeah, the gilfs is not what I'm after, and the Vortioxetine gave me a gilf-like sensation. So, not the greatest, but yeah, you're going to have to taper down and then taper back on the other SSRI. The Barbarian asks, my partner will be running 5 milligrams Anavar soon, second cycle. Any suggestions what's wrong alongside? Okay, so I just answered that one. Anything to facilitate beard growth. I find Provarin helps in the past, but can't be certain if this was it. Shave head every day, but so I'm not concerned about up there. DHT derivatives and minoxidil. Minoxidil really improves blood flow in the beard, and then microneedling. But that's the extent of my knowledge when it comes to beard growth, because I don't like hair. This is all I got, and a little bit here. And yeah, so microneedling, minoxidil, at low dosages, not too much. If it goes systemic, it creates all kinds of issues. Right? Watch the steroidogenesis inhibitor video, and you'll see how terrible minoxidil is on the sex hormone cascade. And then growth hormone, man. GHK copper, maybe, rub that in. Good for collagen synthesis. Yeah, when I was on 10 IU's growth hormone per day, I had to shave every fucking 30 minutes. It was terrible. Thoughts on Nick Walker deciding to skip this year's Olympia? It sucks, man. I wanted to see him. I had him in top 3 over Samson Dauda and Andrew Jack based on their last placings. I mean, I was not impressed with Samson Dauda's showing. Was it France or whatever show he did? I was like, oh, it's the same old Samson. Looked a little bit improved, but maybe he didn't peak for it. Excuse me. And I know what Nick is capable of, but shit happens. Was it fake gear, as the rumor says? Was it an injury? Was it the body not responding? Shows too close together? I don't know. I'll see him at the Mr. Olympia, and if he wants to divulge anything and ask for some advice, then I'm always here, just like advise many a pro about health and that kind of stuff. All right? But you have to ask. We're not going to offer, it's like, hey, this is how you do bicep curls. Right? Unsolicited advice is the worst advice. So come to ask for it, and then I might have some suggestions, depending on the real reason why he pulled out. Dubster Buster asked, Yo Gear Dandy. Yo Gear Dandy. Gear Daddy? Gear Dandy? Well, there's a big difference between both. The best alternative to Primo, low dose, 100 milligrams per week as a TRT add-on, which is mild on hair loss and doesn't significantly affect estrogen. If none, then how low dose of Primo? Well, Primo affects hair loss and lowers estrogen. Boldenone is not hair loss, or is not hair safe and lowers estrogen. Mastrone is not hair safe and might not lower estrogen in some people. So why don't you increase the test and add in an aromatase inhibitor? You want the world, but I can't give it to you. Downsize as 40-year-olds, 12.5% body fat with DEXA. Okay, that means you look pretty damn good. You're probably 10% in pictures. 250 milligrams testosterone once per week yields 22 picograms per milliliter estradiol. That's pretty low. Does it make sense to lower the test and see if my estrogen remains with lower test, or raise the test to see if estrogen will improve? Wouldn't increasing the test keep me at the same ratio, or does aromatization increase as test increases? Yeah, so if you increase the testosterone, obviously you have more testosterone to convert into estradiol. Your body fat levels are not crazy low, right? 12.7% on the DEXA, let's say 11, 10% visually in pictures. That should give you plenty of estradiol. But maybe you're just a low aromatizer, so why don't you go to 325 milligrams a test for an estradiol around 35 picograms per milliliter? Of course, your testosterone levels are picograms per milliliter. Of course, your testosterone levels are going to go up, but right after a certain point of testosterone, the ratio starts to make less and less and less sense, and it's just about having your estradiol at a sufficient level to make sure that your libido is good. And if you want to improve aromatization, well, either get fat or throw in 50 milligrams of nandrolone. I think if you throw in 50 milligrams of nandrolone, your estradiol will be like 40 picograms per milliliter. And then you get a little bit of joint padding, maybe a little bit extra water retention, but at least you can train harder. So multiple ways to get your estradiol levels up. And otherwise, well, there's always HCG, right? Then you produce estradiol directly in the testicles, 250 IUs to 500 IUs, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sub-Q, and then your estradiol will be 35 to 40 picograms per milliliter also. And your testosterone levels will also shoot up, obviously, or you can throw in the DHEA and the HCG. It also helps with aromatization. So multiple ways to skin the cat. I'll leave it up to you which direction you want to do. How would you break a 5-day fasting mimicking diet? Salad with salmon. Yeah, that seems to keep, so if you go with eggs, for example, then with eggs, you kind of get gluconeogenesis and a little bit of an insulinotropic response from the leucine and isoleucine that digest so easily from the egg whites. So I would go with either steak, but it digests a little bit hard. So I found that salmon and salad vegetables or salmon and kale vegetables is the best way to break a fast, whether that's fasting mimicking or true fasting, right? That doesn't really matter. And then the meals after that, your digestion kind of speeds up and you're getting out of this fasting state. You start to partition the nutrients again. Then you can maybe have some eggs and beef, and then it's all smooth sailing from there. But the first day after breaking fast, I would still do a ketogenic diet just to make sure that you don't get terrible terrible glucose fluctuations, and that you start eating whatever is not bolted down to the floor. Been there. Trust me. Benzoate asks, to test the efficacy of Ovitrel, which blood marker should I order and shall I inject just before taking it? Beta HCG levels is enough, and you can inject 1,000 IUs Ovitrel the day before, or 1/6 of the insulin, or 1/6 of the syringe if you get the pre-filled syringe, not the pen with the click system in the back. 1,000 IUs or 1,083 IUs will give you about 25 to 27 milli IUs per milliliter on your beta HCG levels if you inject sub-Q the day before. Yeah, I haven't done an intramuscular test yet. I want to do it. You can do 1,000 IUs intramuscular 2.5 hours before testing serum, but I've never done that, so I wouldn't know what the exact serum levels would be. So I would just do sub-Q 1,000 IUs the day before. Because in my blood work and the blood work that I've seen, 25 to 27 milli IUs per milliliter. And then you know that your nuts are going to be on fire afterwards. Hell yeah. Alvaro JDS asks, our timestamps guy, what's up, bro? Alvaro, how you're doing well. Hey, Steve, I've tried Luvox, so that's Fluvoxamine at 25 milligrams per day for 1 week. I've been on 50 milligrams for another week, but I felt sleepy during the day and see none of the other benefits. Do you know why that could be, and could I take longer to see benefits for the 6 weeks? Yeah, so some people need to ramp up the dose to 75 milligrams to 100 milligrams, but every time I started Fluvoxamine, which is twice in my life, and I stopped it twice also, right now I'm on the methylene blue gain train, at 25 milligrams within 4 to 5 days, I already felt better. So maybe you need to persist, but if you do feel sleepy during the day, then yeah, that could be a side effect. Maybe you need to stay on 25 milligrams a little bit longer to really get used to it, and then increase to 50 milligrams to stay there for about a month, and then increase it to 75, right? But if you don't notice any benefits after 2 months, then maybe look somewhere else, It's again, SSRIs come with a laundry list of side effects, and even though the benefits for me and some people are absolutely astounding, there could also be astounding side effects. So again, proceed with caution, take it up, build it up slowly, and if you feel too sleepy and lethargic and it doesn't give you any benefits, then look into the drugs that Fluvoxamine might prevent its metabolism of, because if you're taking a high-dose melatonin, and Fluvoxamine is preventing the breakdown of melatonin because it's a cytochrome P453A4 enzyme inhibitor, then obviously your melatonin, instead of 3 milligrams, 5 milligrams, or 10 milligrams, might be double the amount that you're used to. And then you feel lethargic during the day. So look into what is being metabolized, or which metabolism is inhibited by fluvoxamine, and then maybe lower the dosages or take those out of the compounds that could make you sleepy. Might not be the fluvoxamine, might be something else that you're taking. Maurice Nos asks, 9 months at TRT plus, 28 days since last testosterone injection, 15 days since last ACG. Testosterone levels 530, while LH is undetectable. 5 days ago, testosterone 545, Clomid now, or wait until your testosterone levels are zero. Right? We just discussed this earlier on. You have to let all these hormones decline for Clomid to even work. So when your testosterone is like 25, then you can throw in the Clomid, and that should... didn't you just say 21 days? And now it's 20. Well, now it's a week later, right? Yeah, okay, makes sense. Yeah, give it another 2 or 3 weeks. Be patient. Let's see. Maurice also asks, Thai boxer here, what increases hematocrit more? 300. Where are we going? You want to come off cycle? You want to increase your hematocrit? Make up your mind. What increases hematocrit more? 300 tests or 200 tests plus 100 Primo? EQ gives me bold and no flu. Trenbolone raises my resting heart rate, chest pain. VAR doesn't help endurance. Too chicken for EPO. I would say 100 tests, 100 Primo. Yeah, but if you're going to do a PCT, then... And if you're a Thai boxer, man, watch the MMA video. Again, just type in MMA on my YouTube channel, you'll get it. Because I discuss everything that is more beneficial for endurance and stamina than test plus Primo, because you're just going to gas yourself out. Especially when you do a Clomid protocol, then you're really going to gas yourself out. You'll be crying on the floor when somebody slaps you. Hyperborean Engineer asks, in your anti-anabolic supplement stack, you stated dinomethane is the worst offender on the list, but the boosting testosterone naturally over-the-counter supplements, dinomethane is listed as a potential aromatase inhibitor. Now, it lowers estradiol by converting estradiol into esterone. It's not an aromatase inhibitor. It helps with the balance between estrogens. Is dinomethane a poor choice for naturals trying to get bigger, or is it just a poor choice for those who are enhanced? Okay, so I guess you didn't get the gist of the anti-anabolic supplement stack. That was satire. I listed all the compounds which could potentially have an anti-anabolic effect, and dinomethane has been shown to block the androgen receptors in prostate cancer, not in skeletal muscle. All right, so that's why I added that to the list. I've recommended dinomethane to many a natural bodybuilder, and estrogen balance is nicely sustained, and that might have a positive effect on your testosterone levels, right? Because estradiol is less, so you get more luteinizing hormone, a follicle-stimulating hormone. If you combine it with calcium deglucarate and some of the other practices in the boosting testosterone natural supplement stack, then testosterone levels ultimately go up because your hormonal balance is more favorable. So again, it's satire, guys. It's satire. Just like the video where I discussed the ultimate stack for flushing, right? Where you combine niacin and beta-alanine and melanotan 2, right? A PT1 for 1, right? That's a flushing stack. It's satire, guys. It's a joke, right? If it goes over your head, then yeah, I'm sorry. Can't help. D. Brad, what dose does it feel like to inject testosterone suspension? Makes you angry right away, or is it just Halo? The Halo is not injectable, so I don't know, 25 milligrams, 50 milligrams testosterone suspension really made me on edge. But 10 milligrams Halo made me on edge also. Dumpster Buster asks, Gear Daddy? Okay, so no more Gear Dandy. Dear Gear Daddy, need you on this one. 10 plus years on TRT, only in Libido, every 5 weeks. So that's 1,000 milligrams testosterone every 5 weeks. SHBG always 1,000 nanomoles per liter. Oh, that's very high. June, SHBG 125, begin with 12.5 milligrams proviron, 10 milligrams Anavar, plus 10 milligrams Trenbolone. Stop proviron 6 weeks ago due to plant blood work. Kept Anavar and Trenbolone in. SHBG now is 33. So surprised. Does it make sense to you? No, it happens. I mean, oral steroids lower your SHBG levels. It's just part of the game. Should I reintroduce proviron? Markers are okay. I don't know where your SHBG levels were on proviron. So I think an SHBG of 33 is okay. And since proviron is not very anabolic, I would just keep the Anavar and Trenbolone in. Maximal asks, hey Steve, could one get myocarditis from TRT? I wonder if that's maybe why I'm short of breath. Where to check this in Bangkok, and if this one, is it reversible? I don't know, dude, but you seem to have a lot of issues, so I would really suggest you get a full check at this point, because every time I see your name, you have some sort of issue going on. So just go to Sumitivé or go to Bangkok Hospital and do some proper screening, because I'm starting to get a little bit concerned. Doesn't sound good, man. What would be the lowest amount of test? I've been on TRT for a 41-year-old male, 108 kilos. I've been on one full ampule Bayer lazy man's TRT protocol currently. Get diagnosed. I had to say this, but I don't think it's a good idea to give you any further advice without you getting yourself healthy, because it doesn't sound good what you're doing, man. Please, buddy, just get yourself healthy. How effective is Tadalafil as an aromatase inhibitor? It's not an aromatase inhibitor, but it is known to lower estradiol levels through pathways. I can't remember. It's maybe blood flow. I don't know. It's somewhere in the Tadalafil deep dive. I can't remember, but it does lower estradiol levels without increasing testosterone levels. Or did it increase testosterone levels without lowering estradiol levels? Fuck, I forgot. Well, it's clearly not that effective for me to remember. But it's somewhere in the Cialis deep dive. Mike Freeman, many thanks, all right. Stephen, man, I'm permanently shut down to the pituitary defect. Would there still be any ideas or benefits of adding HCG to the TRT protocol? Yes, because HCG works on your testicles. That has nothing to do with the hypothalamus or pituitary. So you're replacing the luteinizing hormone signal, which is not there because your pituitary is defect. So yes, add in the HCG, sustain your fertility, add in the FSH when you really want to get somebody pregnant, and then just do the job that your pituitary is too lazy to do by taking all the hormones into your own hands, right? Grabbing life by the balls, literally, and throwing the HCG and the FSH at it, and the TRT to sustain your levels until you're really ready to get somebody pregnant. Then you take the TRT out, you continue with the HCG and the FSH until your partner is pregnant. Better to up the dose of test. What had you done yourself? No, I took the TRT out. I took the test out and was on HCG and FSH for a year straight. That's what I did. Because I didn't want to, my luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone would be 2 to 3. My fertility parameters were maybe a third as good as on the FSH and LH protocol, even though we had to do IVF. So could have just cut them off cycle, but that's in hindsight, right? Could have just left it to the fucking microscope, and then instead of having 500 million sperm per ejaculate, just do it with 60. Unnatural HPTA. It is what it is. Joshua, welcome to the Vigorous crew, bro. I thought you were already in Vegas. No, man, tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be in Vegas. And I land at 4:20. Even though I don't smoke weed. But yeah, I landed at 4:20. So nobody has to wait for me. We're going straight to the Airbnb, me and Aaron. But I will be leaving my house in 5.5 hours. All right, let me scroll through. Thoughts on Nick dropping? I just answered that one. Andrew as well, due to an ab injury. So now we don't have Nick. We don't have Andrew. We don't have Nathan. We don't have Beirut. We don't have Rami. We don't have that British guy that looks like he's from Brazil with the big fat tattoo. So there's already 6 guys out. Well, I'm starting to regret my gold VIP ticket now. These fuckers better deliver, man. Spend a lot of money to be front row. And spend a lot of money on the booth. Well, I know Wesley Vissers won't disappoint. So at least, as long as Wesley doesn't drop out, as long as my golden boy doesn't drop out, then I'm fine with it. Yeah, but it's a little bit disappointing. This is what I keep telling you guys, right? Everybody's like, yeah, this is the best Olympia ever, best Olympia ever. And then all these guys are dropping out. Or they don't look good. So I'm, after watching Olympia since, man, the year 2000. Yeah, I think the year 2000. I'm gonna keep it real, man. It's when I see these people on stage and they look good, then I get excited. But until that point, I'm not getting my hopes up. Josh, are you noticing extra flatness from Retatrutide in the gym? Having to take Humalog pre-workout to combat the glucagon response during this window. I don't think it's a good idea to combine glucagon with insulin, especially not a long-acting glucagon. Right? It's opposing signals. And the flatness is obviously coming from the caloric restriction. Now, the only time I ran Retatrutide was in the United States last year when I got a batch from Anabolics Anonymous, who cannot be named, unfortunately, because the channels get deleted. Let's see what happens with modern aminos. So I ran that at 1 milligram Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 2 weeks, and that's the only batch I had left. So I didn't notice any flatness, but I did notice some glucose in my urine because I was just eating a little bit more than usual. And I felt that my blood glucose levels were a little bit elevated at the time, but I didn't bring my glucometer with me. So this time I go to the US, I allegedly will be stocking up on Retatrutide and then run a little bit of an experiment as soon as I get back. Yeah, but Retatrutide will also be available here in Thailand reasonably soon through the compounding pharmacy that I work with, through healthcare, Gen Oracle. So that will be, they might be having that in stock as well. I wish I was able. All right, I'm just do your best. 23-year-old male with a family history of hypertension and strokes. What supplements and best practices would you recommend to lower blood pressure and prevent stroke? Fish oil, right, to keep the thinness of your blood. You don't have to resort to baby aspirin right away, but look at the high-dose fish oil and vitamin E just to make sure that there's no risk of potential blood clots. And make sure you stay on top of your vitamin K just to make sure that the clotting factors are all normal, not abnormal. So you don't risk any blood clots. Lower blood pressure, well, buy a blood pressure monitor to see if your blood pressure is even high. Because if you're 23 years old and you're not blasting your socks off, then there's no need to manage your blood pressure, right? So keep track of your blood pressure and then see if there's a reason to manage your blood pressure. And you can do that with magnesium, you can do that with carditone, you can do that with tolmosartan, you can do that with sauna, you can do that with daily fasted cardio, you can do that by just careful electrolyte intake, and eating healthy. So whatever your family was doing, just do the opposite, like what I'm doing, right? I have a family history of all kinds of medical conditions. So I do the exact opposite and do my blood work frequently. And when I see a medical condition, just a hint of it, then I pull the plug and make sure that I get everything under control. Methylgestanolone is good. Yeah, that's what I'm on right now. Get a fucking Superdrol pump. I'm fasting today, so I'm a little bit flat. Did I lose my bloat now? You guys stop bitching about me being fucking bloated in the face? Because I took the growth hormone out. Steve's looking bloated. Well, those days are over. My ankles are fucking shredded. Ha! I was able to make it to the Mr. Olympia weekend. Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I'll have fun for you, buddy. Blue STI, what's up? Josh, can you run Mirabegron year-round? I don't know. I ran it for 6 to 8 weeks. So that's where my experience ends. I stopped it last week. I stopped a lot of things last week. I was getting kind of sick of this cycle. And then when I had to pull this teeth, look at this shit. Oh, can't see it. When I had to pull this teeth on my fucking birthday, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of over this cycle. So I took the growth hormone out. I took the Mirabegron out. I took the Winstrol out. And it was an Arcoxia and all that shit. So I'm like, fuck, man. Can't be on all this medication at the same time. And then I got a little bit of a cold. And I got this fucking cold sore here, which is luckily gone. But I did throw in the Superdrol. You got to fill out for the Mr. Olympia, man. Anyway, so my experience ends at 6 to 8 weeks of continuous Mirabegron use with occasional use of... am I bleeding now? No, yeah, a little bit. Fuck. No, that's from all the acliclovar that I've been rubbing on this area just to get rid of it. Dries out the skin. So Let's see, rather than prescribe 50 milligrams per day, is there no beta-3 downregulation? So based on all the research that I've done, there appears to be no beta-3 adrenergic downregulation from 150 milligrams or 200 milligrams mirabegron per day. There seems to be spillover into the beta-1 receptors, increasing heart rate and increasing blood pressure further than you would expect from this medication alone. And what I did include is that there are potential sources of beta-3 downregulation, but it's not something that I experienced myself. So if not, what is the max duration? It seems that you can run this for a very long time because the side effects are minimal. But how long, it's entirely up to you. Hey Steve, you had mentioned in a previous video that benzoate works to deliver the active ingredient or something to that effect. Can you please share the benefits of benzoate in a little bit more detail? So benzoate acts as a solvent, but because it's a solvent, some of the active pharmaceutical ingredients or the esterified steroids are dissolved in the benzoate. So since it's a solvent and it disperses quite rapidly, faster from the injection depot, it disperses, right? So let's say you have 3 layers of what you're injecting. You have the benzoyl alcohol, that's 0.9%, benzoate, 10 to 20%, depending on the formulation, and the rest is carrier oil, right? Benzoyl alcohol, gone, right away, gets metabolized right away. Benzoate disperses in a couple hours. Some of that is metabolized into benzoyl alcohol and then metabolized from the body. Whatever it takes with it goes into systemic circulation, and then the carboxyl esterases or the phospho-5 deesterases metabolize the esters away from the injectable steroid with the ester attached, right? So if that's testosterone enanthate, the carboxyl esterases, the phospho-5 deesterases metabolize the enanthate away, and now testosterone goes into systemic circulation, binding to sexual binding globulin, albumin, or the androgen receptor is where you want it to be, right? Or the aromatase inhibitor, or aromatase enzymes, or 5-reductase enzymes, wherever it ends up. Now, the remainder of what you injected stays in the injection depot in the carrier oil. And then it needs to be broken down. First, it needs to disperse, forms little fat droplets, right? And the lipases work on the surface of the carrier oil and then release the esterified steroid. So this is how benzoate acts as a prodrug delivery mechanism, because within the first 24 hours, benzoate also already disperses, takes a good amount of this esterified steroid with it into systemic circulation. And this is why serum levels peak generally, regardless of ester, within 24 hours. Now, I linked a very comprehensive study by Tirzepatide, a Dutch guy that studied in a university somewhere. It's linked in the citations of the carrier oil deep dive. It's probably the most interesting study you can ever read about prodrug delivery mechanisms of what we tend to use in bodybuilding. Let's see, Chungus, what are the must-have supplements to support cardiovascular health? Why on performance-enhancing drugs? The performance-enhancing drugs are Test, GH, Anavar, fish oil, vitamin E, citrus bergamot. I think that's about it. Yeah, magnesium, right, for blood pressure management. Even though you shouldn't get too much blood pressure issues with testosterone, Anavar, and growth hormone, unless you were unhealthy AF. How to lubricate the joints. Joints and connective tissue optimal with 55 to 60 estrogen, but energy and sexual vigor optimal 35 to 40. Okay, so Aminer Aminos has glucosamine that you can inject. Right, it's very similar to Pentosan Gold. It's one of the products that I'm going to be trialing myself, because I tried Pentosan Gold ages ago and it knotted up so bad that after 2 injections, I threw that shit in the trash. But I have faith in their formulation, so I'll run that instead. I'll make a separate video about that. So that's something you can look into. I haven't used it myself yet, but as soon as I do, I'll make some sort of educational video about it, because joint lubrication is definitely something that I'm after, being 41 years old. And I don't want to use Nandrolone anymore because, I don't know. Well, I might have to use Nandrolone after Mr. Olympia to grow my gyno. And then I get it cut out once. But that's something you can look into. And high-dose steroids in general with growth hormone lubricates your joints quite well. As long as you stay away from Winstrol, which I did run, then your joints are quite lubricated. So test Nandrolone, maybe some Anavar. using an aromatase inhibitor to keep your estrogen favorable at 35 to 40. And then some growth hormone to add a little bit more padding. And of course, collagen peptides, right? Vitamin C, hyaluronic acid. And then the pentose on gold formulations. That might all be something that you're interested in. Jean Furious, checking a study you analyzed in your deep dive HCG video, I noticed that several daily doses of testosterone cream caused no luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone shutdown compared to other testosterone forms of HCG. Do you think it was the case? I can't remember reading that study, but if that's something you read, then go prove it with real science. Apply a couple doses of testosterone cream, and then see if your LH and FSH levels come down. But, I mean, testosterone absorbs transdermally, raising estradiol levels. Estradiol levels metabolize slower than testosterone because it's a metabolic byproduct of testosterone after all. So every time you apply testosterone, yes, the testosterone metabolizes into DHT or estradiol. The estradiol lingers, and then over time your LH and FSH levels will still come down. So it might be worthy of an experiment, but personally, I'd rather pin my shit and be done with it. Gray Jens, finished the HCG protocol for 6 weeks, results in luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone. Why do you guys think that HCG increases your luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone? This is like the third question already. Do you guys not understand how human chorionic gonadotropin works? It works on the combined luteinizing hormone, chorionic gonadotropin receptor on the testicles. HCG does not raise luteinizing hormone or follicle stimulating hormone. If you want to raise luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, you need to block the estrogen receptors in the hypothalamus and the pituitary with clomiphene, clomid, tamoxifen, tormorphine, right, etc. So please get it out of your head. HCG will not keep your LH and FSH levels in range. For that, you need a selective estrogen receptor modulator and time. Prolactin, a little bit on the high side. Estradiol, on the high side because the HCG produces estradiol directly in the testicles. Shrink testicles a bit. What can I do to fix my LH and FSH and testicular function? Your testicular function is fine because otherwise your estradiol would not be this high, right? You're producing estradiol in the testicles and also testosterone. Prolactin will come down if you bring your estradiol levels down. So after HCG protocol 6 weeks, you need to switch to clomid or clomiphene, right? And it could be 50 milligrams clomid per day or 50 milligrams clomiphene per day for a week, and then taper that down to 25. I don't know what your cycle duration was. I don't know how long you were shut down. I don't know if you use Nandrolone. So please watch the PCT videos. Again, you can find it on my YouTube channel. No cookie cutting for you guys anymore. And please do some research in the HPTA so you understand what to expect. D. Brad, I was on 250 IUs HCG 3 times per week, cut it out for a month. Now going to blast HCG 1,000 IUs per day for 1 week because I have to come off quick. Thoughts? PCT is going to be lengthy anyway, so there's no coming off quick. There's no coming off quick. Steve, I don't feel the effects anymore of armodafinil and caffeine, even fall asleep a few hours after taking it. Thoughts? I think you need some medical advice, medical attention, because the issues that you have are beyond me, and it's been going on for weeks now. So please seek some medical attention, Maximal, because I'm getting concerned, really. And if you're blasting stimulants and you're having issues with your heart and all kinds of issues that I don't remember, then I can't help you. Go to a doctor, please. How do I get rid of topical tinea? I have no idea what that is. I'm not a doctor. How long is the trip to the States? I think it's door-to-door, about 24 hours. Yeah, so if I seem a little bit groggy tomorrow, then, you know what happened. Your opinion on taking raloxifene for post-cycle gyno 60 milligrams per day with Accutane 30 milligrams per day. Blood work is clean, and Accutane is under doctor's supervision. The gyno will shrink about 50%, but will come back. Right? I took raloxifene 120 milligrams per day for a month until I realized that it was linked to blood clots quite substantially, so I stopped. Right? It was during the pandemic height, and I was not willing to risk it. So you will shrink your gyno by about 50%, and then it will slowly come back when you discontinue the raloxifene. So, gyno surgery is the only way. Darwin Vincent, living the lifestyle, 10 to 12% body fat, blood glucose 96, went keto for a week and fasted 24 hours. How do I stay sensitive introducing carb cycles? Blood glucose 69 currently. Everybody loves 69, baby. Just slowly reintroduce it and keep doing your fasting cardio. Because a blood glucose of 96 is not the end of the world. Maybe you have a temporary blood glucose dump in the morning because you wake up according to the alarm clock, your cortisol levels go up. This dumps the glycogen from liver stores going to the bloodstream, and now you think your fasting blood glucose levels were high, but it's just part of you waking up. So maybe you need a AccuCheck or one of those 24-hour blood glucose monitors to kind of see what your blood glucose is doing overnight. Maybe you could go hypo in the middle of the night. Maybe you have sleep apnea making you go hypo, and then you go get a glucose dump from the liver glycogen stores, right? So there's could be multiple things going on. But if you brought your blood glucose levels in a fasting state down to 69, then you're good for now, and try to assess what's going on in the meantime. You know? Sticky hand. If I'm prone to hair loss from testosterone or orals, how long after starting them will the hair loss start? And when will it stop after stopping the steroids? So some guys just, it starts and it never stops. Yeah. But that's, again, individual response. So usually we'll start within a couple of days, especially orals. I mean, they metabolize or they start acting on the androgen receptor right away. And the orals metabolize faster out of the system. But if you're doing an injectable testosterone base, then obviously it's going to take some time for that to metabolize. So give it 4 to 6 weeks for the hair loss to stop, but give it a couple days for the hair loss to start. Yeah, kind of sucks, man. Or you can go bald like I do and not give a fuck. Hey, Steve, what are your thoughts on making gains while on a low-carb or keto diet? I've done it for many years. It's totally doable. It's about caloric intake and eating healthy. And you can even gain size on 100 grams of carbs coming from fruit post-workout, man. You just got to eat a lot of protein, a lot of fat to compensate for the lack of carbohydrates. I've been on an uncontrolled binge cycle for 2 to 3 weeks after my diet and have ballooned. I took your advice from last week and ordered Mounjaro. It comes tomorrow. Is it really worth the hype? I hope it is. Well, you clearly need it because you... Sorry, guys. We're not going to do racial slurs here. That shit gets you banned. So, well, you clearly needed to get your diet under control, but next time you finish your diet, start with the Mounjaro, so you don't go on a binge and blow up, right? I wish it was available when I did my first couple of diets, because I did the exact same thing. You go on a binge for 2 to 3 weeks, and you blow up to something that nobody wants to fuck. And then what's the point, right? 12 weeks, 16 weeks of dieting to get shredded abs, and then you undo it in 2 to 3 weeks, and now you're completely unfuckable. So get on the Mounjaro. It is really worth the hype. Yeah, for most people. Hey, Steve, we're using iHerb fish oil before Gorilla. Yeah, I used the California Gold Nutrition fish oil that did wonders for me, and now I switched to Gorilla. That smells very, very nice when you open the bottle. Yeah, it smells like lemon. It smells like clean lemon fish oil that's not rancid, even though the California Gold Nutrition was not rancid either. I switched back and forth. I got the exact same results. So no indigestion, no problem, no fishy burps, no nastiness. But the Gorilla Mind is obviously 10% discount, whereas iHerb is 5% discount, and the kickback for me is greater. So please switch to Gorilla Mode fish oil instead. And this Vegas trip is not going to be cheap, guys. Yo, Steve, I'm Natty. My age is 23. Training natural 5 years. My weight is 66 kilos. I'm considering HCG monotherapy. How much can I gain? What is the protocol? Okay, so you're 23, so I'm assuming you're old enough. You've been training 5 years natural. Make sure you eat enough. Right? You can take all the steroids or HCG monotherapy that you want, but if you're not eating enough, you're not giving yourself enough nutrients to grow skeletal muscle tissue. For the HCG monotherapy, the protocol is as follows. 250 IUs Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sub-Q for 1 to 2 weeks. Then 500 IUs Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sub-Q for 2 to 3 weeks. Then if you're not starting to gain any size, 1,000 IUs sub-Q Monday, Wednesday, Friday. then by that time your estrogen production must be sky fucking high. So after a week or two on the 1,000 IUs 3 times per week, please go do your blood work to see where your estradiol levels are at, to see if you need an aromatase inhibitor like aromacin or an anastrozole, for example. I don't know where your estrogen levels are going to be at, so I can't recommend you a cookie cutter aromacin or an anastrozole protocol. That's something you're going to have to decide. Or super chat me in a couple of weeks with your blood work results, and then we'll take it from there. And then you can even do 1,000 IUs every day. But by that time, you get some diminishing returns. So most guys top out at 1,000 IUs HCG 3 times per week. And then you just got to eat and train and keep going. You can't call yourself natty anymore, but you should be able to gain significant size, again, if the food is there and the training intensity is there. How often did you check hard markers? I did EKG, ECG, and stress test 6 months ago. Depends what you did in the meantime. So if you've been blasting hard, then I would do it again. But if you... what is it called? If you were in TRT, then, yeah, and then it doesn't really matter. You can do it once per year. I do hard cardio, 170 beats per minute. When I add in the Bivol, 2.5 milligrams, my cardio increased like crazy, better than any drug for cardio. Well, Jesus Christ, guys, can you just type it out a little bit better? I consider this a statement and not a question. God, I have to read this out loud, so please put in the effort. Put in the effort, dude. S225. For year-round sports TRT of 300 milligrams per week is 500 milligrams of each Tutka, NAC, such as bergamot, berberine, plus daily cardio and fish oil sufficient. I would go to 1,000 milligrams NAC. Actually, 2,000 milligrams NAC. Yeah, 500 milligrams Tutka, 2,000 milligrams NAC, 1,000 milligrams such as bergamot, and berberine I would only do once a week. It's not magic, dude. Just eat right. Daily cardio, yes, and maybe 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams fish oil, depending on what you get from your diet. I'm talking about EPA and DHA from fish oil. So get a high potency one, right? The one from Gorilla Mind is high potency. So you don't need too many capsules. You maybe need 5 capsules to get the job done instead of taking 50 capsules of one of those 180 milligram EPA and DHA formulas from other brands. How do you go back from the USA with AA products? Do you out them in your checked baggage? What do you think? What do you think? What type of scanning before starting growth hormone, and do you need to do a whole body? Depends. If there's cancer in your family, then yes, I would scan for cancer markers and do a full body MRI. But if there's no cancer in your family, then well, you know, based on your own risk assessment. Can you fly domestic with gear? It depends on which country. There's 250 something countries in the world, so be specific. Kratos, look at this guy with his fucking jacked abs and chest. Hey, big guy, this is the big guy way, right? I give him a compliment, he gives me a compliment. Everybody wins. Is there a benefit to taking citrobergamot AM to PM if using ezetimibe and 5 milligrams rosuvastatin? I'm blasting 2 grams of gear and I've been using all 3 to keep my LDL below 70. Yeah, so ezetimibe lowers LDL, rosuvastatin lowers LDL, but doesn't raise HDL. And citrobergamot might raise HDL with a couple points. So if you want to raise your HDL, then citrobergamot is a nice addition, even though it will not lower LDL anymore beyond the ezetimibe or rosuvastatin. So if you care about 3 to 5 points of your HDL numbers on paper, then yeah, might as well throw the citrobergamot in there. But yeah, it's expensive for what you're getting out of it. Are you going to post pics of the 6-month cycle transformation? Yes, I should. But I haven't taken any pictures yet, and I'm literally flying out tomorrow. Yeah, it's kind of stupid. I should have done them yesterday morning. But yesterday morning, I was so busy going to the dentist that I forgot to take them. And then I went out with my wife, and then I woke up a little bit watery today. And then tonight, I'm flying out. So Tuesday morning, what is it? Tuesday morning. Tomorrow I'll eat clean. Monday I eat clean because we simply don't have time. We got to go to the Airbnb and do some grocery shopping and then go to the gym and then call it a night, right? Tuesday morning. Fuck, man, please remind me. shoot me a message. Steve, take those fucking pictures, you fucking asshole. Because I did look good Saturday morning. So Friday to Saturday morning. I know YouTuber didn't have it, right? So I took the growth hormone out Monday. And then Friday to Saturday, fuck, man, I must have pissed like 1,000,000 liters. And then I woke up and I look at my legs and I'm like, holy shit, there's veins everywhere. It looks like my cock is like super extended to the floor. And I've only used the bath mate for 2 weeks. Maybe it's a DHT cream that's been going on the tip. So yeah, I should take some pictures, but I'm very pleased with how I look. I mean, the face is looking a lot better. Please say that my face looks better compared to before, because I was a bloat monster, man, at the end. But I'm sexy as hell, dude. Look at this shit. Oosh. Anyway, I should take some pictures. It's been crazy busy, man, the last couple of days, and I wanted to spend some time with my wife, so because she's not going to the U.S. Is there any benefit to taking 100 milligrams dimethyl twice per day while blasting while using test Primo Masteron to keep estrogen in check, and wondering if I can pull? Yeah, you can pull the DIM, dude. You're on Primo Masteron. I don't think DIM is for naturals or TRT plus guys, right? But if you're saucing your socks off, just rely on the Primo. How would you microdose Tirzepatide for a 40-year-old male who's never been on a GLP-1 GIP? 0.25 milligrams Monday, Wednesday, Friday sub-Q. And then you can increase it every 2 to 3 weeks. Keep in mind, the first week you might not notice any appetite suppression. Don't overdo it. Where you're like, fuck it, I want an appetite suppression now, I'm going to go to 1 milligram. And then you overshoot, and then you can't eat, and then you're vomiting at the thought of drinking water. So 0.25 milligrams sub-Q Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and build up after 2 or 3 weeks to 0.5. And then maybe build up to 1 milligram Monday, Wednesday, Friday. All right, so take it easy. Are you going to do a new WADA-vid when the 2025 list drops? Let's see if they dropped it already, because it should have been out yesterday, I think. And it is out. It is out. So, yes, I will drop this when I get back. Languages, English, download. Let's see if Mirabegron is on there. Mira, nope. SLU, nope. Actually, I should find the major modifications. Let's see what they added. ARM 210, beta 2 agonists, Elastrand, mitochondrial support. Oh, MOT-C. They added in MOT-C, guys. Insulin mimetics. Okay, so MOT-C is now on the prohibited list. Well, motherfuckers, I got a lot more where that came from. So, yes, I will do a new list as soon as it drops. Or as soon as I get back from the U.S. Because everybody loves me talking about how to beat the drug test. Yeah, so the most notable things is MOT-C, hydraphenil, guanfacine is not prohibited. Beta blockers, monitoring program, fentanyl and tramadol. And where is Bemetil? There's no Bemetil on the monitoring program. Anyway, I'll have to look into it. But yes, this is on the to-do list. And the methylene blue deep dive, I got pretty far. But there's still so much more to research. Sorry, man. Retatrutide. Yeah, start with 0.25 milligrams and build your way up. You could start a little bit higher, but again, you don't know how you're going to respond to the glucagon. So take it easy. If you're doing a cut from 15% to 10% body fat, how many weeks would a full stack of fat burners actually take off the cut? That's a good question. So let's say you need 8 weeks to get from 15 to 10%. Maybe you can do it in 6. Yeah, so 25% faster. But then again, you can get from 15 to 10% natural, and you don't need any fat burners. So why don't you save the fat burners for when you're 10% body fat to get down to 6%? Hey, earn it. If using salbutamol inhaler, how soon pre-fasted cardio should it be used and at what dose? I would do 1 or 2 puffs, maybe 10 minutes before. That's usually enough time. Works very fast. I hear, so that's 100 to 200 micrograms. I hear most of the inhalers at once. Seems to be a high dose, but not sure. Yeah, so I would do it. I will do it sometimes before leg day, depending on the climate and how humid it is. But now with the methylene blue, I'm gonna be honest, and Pico 2 that I combine it with, I can't say that I get any benefits out of a salbutamol inhaler because the methylene blue at 5 to 10 milligrams is more than enough to get the oxygenation, especially when combining that with 4 grams of peak O2. Oh, it's getting cold in here. Get a stuffy nose. James, I got a couple dates lined up today. Can I combine Red Bull with 9 milligrams Tadalafil? I'm looking to have a vigorous date night. Yeah, I guess so. Couple dates. Speed dating. Well, have fun. My 1 hour shoots up for an hour. My heart rate shoots up for an hour or so right after my testosterone propionate. Why? Could be an inflammatory response to the carrier oil, or maybe you're allergic to the benzoyl, benzoate, benzoyl alcohol. Or it could be like a big dump of the testosterone propionate converting into testosterone, raising your heart rate. Maybe go to daily microadministrations. Not trying to get a kid, just wanted more anabolism. Is wondering if I should up the TRT and add in a dose of HG for a period if I had any benefits over more exogenous testosterone. No, if you're not looking for kids or sustained fertility, then I would say more tests is better because aromatization is a little bit better. You're able to control the aromatization a little bit better. Oh, fucking real stuffy nose now. Fuck me. Let me move this out of the way. 1 second, guys. All right. Yo, coach, I got Tirzepatide 7.5 milligrams RX to me by doctor. Only comes in an auto injector. Have you heard of anybody transferred the auto injector into a sterile valve for microdosing? That's what I did with the auto injector from the what is it called? Ovitrel, right? It was 6,500 IUs in a single syringe, and we just transfer it to a sterile valve. So yeah, transfer it to a sterile valve, draw what you need, get the job done. Mr. H2O had to stop taking nicotinamide mononucleotide because 30 minutes after taking it, my heart rate went up from 60 to 130 while in an inactive state. Has anyone else experienced this? No. No, that doesn't sound good. Are you sure it's nicotinamide mononucleotide? What do you think of Tien and Clark recommending low dose of Tien? Yeah, I saw 2 videos today about oral only cycles. I can't get behind it. So, James, I know you don't like injections, so maybe you should follow Tien and Clark instead. Go for it. Fish oil causes heart palpitations. Any tips? Never heard of that. But if it causes you issues, then switch brands or don't take fish oil at all. The Dean and Kurt podcast is actually cutting edge. Thanks, Steve. Best podcast on YouTube right now. Yes, that's why I asked them. Said, hey, we need to do us 3 a podcast that's groundbreaking every fucking weekend. And it is now my favorite podcast to do. Because it's recurring. So I'm always looking forward to it because it's one of those few podcasts where I actually learn something, not just talk and teach. It's actually, so when Kurt opens his mouth, so I'm like, oh, interesting. Dean opens his mouth, interesting. All right, so I think we make a good team, and now we're really played into each other regarding the humor and then the energy tennis. So stay tuned for more. Every fucking month, we're gonna make this the new best podcast on the fucking planet in the bodybuilding community, and everybody else will just follow suit. I'm going to use this to grow my gyno. Has been one of the most bizarre comments I've heard in a while. Yeah, so the problem is when you do gynecomastia surgery and they don't take all the tissue away, then you have to do it again. And I've seen so many horror stories where guys do 1, 2, 3, 5 gynosurgeons. So I'm going to meet with a gynecomastia specialist again after I come back from the United States. Run the idea past him, and I'm just gonna go on tests, like maybe 250 tests, 250 Nandrolone and 50 milligrams of mint. No AI, growth hormone. Do like chest and legs, grow chest and legs in gyno for like 4 to 6 weeks, and then go in for surgery. It's a bizarre comment, but well, this is a bizarre YouTube channel, so get used to it. Are there any online coaches and specialized in PEDs for jiu-jitsu competitors? Not that I know. Do you think having very small nipples as a male is a sign of low estrogen throughout puberty and life in general? Since high estrogen grows the nipples, wondering if low estrogen is a sign. I have no idea, dude. I have no idea. I have no idea. Greg T. Cholesterol is high, over 300 milligrams per deciliter total, but the recent calcium score was 0. Should I still try to reduce lipids or just do calcium scan every 6 to 12 months? Why? Well, I would rather just get your cholesterol levels down to healthy ranges as a preventative measure, because getting a calcium score every 6 to 12 months with the radioactive iodine, which is more accurate than without it, probably does more harm than good. So just bring it into range, man. Bring it into range. With the ezetimibe, citrus bergamot, fish oil, daily fasted cardio. You know, the instances of low calcium scores are 0. Calcium scores are better when your cholesterol levels are maintained within the reference range. And yes, I'm well aware that inflammatory markers also play a role in that, so that you also need to pay attention to. My face fucking stuffy now. Fuck. How much of total testosterone should 200 milligrams of testosterone give you in 150? So 150 gave me about 1,200 nanograms per deciliter, and 2,000 about 1,800, 1,500, 1,800, 2,000. Again, it really depends based on your injection frequency, the closeness of doing blood work together with your injection, and how fast you metabolize it, because everybody's different. So, you know, stick with pharmaceutical grade, then you don't have to worry about it. Sensei Steve, have you tried rapamycin? No, never. No, never tried it. Does IGF-1 have to be pinned bilaterally, intramuscularly, or can it be just done subcutaneously? You can do both, but I prefer bilaterally, intramuscularly, because it has a localized effect. And it enhances the pump if you take it pre-workout. But on your rest days, you can take it subcu. That's what I did. So you get a systemic effect. Chris Bell, what's up, dude? Great to hear you people. Hope you're doing well. Great to hear you referring people to a doctor. It's very refreshing in this world. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I talk about steroids, right? And I can mitigate harm reduction, or I can inspire harm reduction based on steroids. But if people are unhealthy, clearly, and I'm not a doctor, then please just go to a doctor. And we have enough educators in the space pretending to be doctors or knowing how to resolve medical conditions, but that's not what I'm here for. I can keep you healthy, but if you fucked your health, that's what the doctors are for. Yeah, but I don't trust doctors. That's your fucking problem, man. All the doctors that I worked with here in Thailand have absolutely been phenomenal. And I work with plenty of doctors in the United States and Europe, right? Through consultations, they contact me for particular medical conditions that they need to run past me. Based on the clients that they have, right? I have this client, he's on the steroids, and this is what's going on. They consult with me, and they resolve the issue, not me. Right? I'm there for a second opinion. So, yeah, doctors are highly intelligent people, and we step away from the medical community by taking all these performance-enhancing drugs. It's not their fault; it's our fault. Right? It's our fault. It's not their fault. Doctors don't understand. No, because that's not what they're specialized in. And I don't want to be the one that specialized in that, because it's beyond my scope. I can keep you healthy, but if you fucked your health, then that's what the doctors are there for. Black Cowboy Boogie. Hey, Steve, if I ate approximately 30 grams of lean protein like chicken breast and immediately inject 4 IUs of growth hormone directly before bed, would it cause insulin insensitivity and high blood glucose? No. No, because there's no carbs. And hopefully you live the lifestyle, so I wouldn't worry about it. Hey, Steve, is it optimal to steam or boil veggies for antioxidant potential? Brian Johnson does know where I'm hearing steaming cucumbers, though. It's better to eat it raw, because steaming or heating food in general destroys some of the micronutrients and the enzymes and some of the antioxidants. So if you really want to go anal about it, eat everything raw. Can you do that? Is it riskier for salmonella or food poisoning? Yes, it is. I think if you avoid processed garbage, then you can cook the food that you're eating and you steam it or boil it or air fry it, right? Because you can go 100% like Brian Johnson does, but is it practical? Do you have $800 million laying around to be this impractical? You probably don't. Let's see. Sticky hand. Finasteride 1.25 milligrams per day for 2 months. Hair loss hasn't stopped. Okay, well, then you need to look somewhere else. Maybe it's not the DHT. Maybe it's lack of micronutrients for keratin production. Maybe you're copper deficient. Maybe you're zinc deficient. Maybe you're estrogen depleted. Maybe you don't eat enough protein. Hair loss is complicated. It's not just DHT. Why the fuck are tennis players getting popped for clostebol? Sinners got caught and blamed on it as the massage cream. Yeah, because clostebol is an over-the-counter supplement, so you use that as an excuse, right? Clostebol and acetate is found in those eye drops. Was that correct? In eye drops or some sort of ointment? And then you just run it and say, well, I was running this ointment and now I popped for clostebol, but in reality there was just no clostebol acetate in an injectable form and use that as an excuse. I had tainted meat with clenbuterol. Sure you do. Sure you do. Can you travel to the U.S. with a doctor prescription with tests and Primo, Masterone, Anavar, and growth hormone? There's no doctor prescription for Primo, Masterone. But Anavar and growth hormone, yes. But I would still do additional research. When I go to the US, I only bring my over-the-counter supplements. And then I do the sea gear diet. I see gear when I arrive, and then I might use something locally. But I'm not bringing anything to the US. Why risk it? Why risk it? Let me scroll down a bit. All right, a lot of domestic flights, guys. You guys got to figure that out. Rick PR, 500 IUs HCG 3 times a week. What should HCG levels be in a lab draw? The day after, probably 12 to 15 on the beta HCG level. But on 1,000 IUs, it will be 25 to 27 the day after. Steve might have missed my question. All right. Where is it? I know. I see you bought a lot of questions. Post it again. Post it again. You remember? I'm sure I can find it again. When I calculate body fat using skin fold 3 location, I'm sub 7%. Body fat, my Renfo Smart Scale says I'm 30%. Am I closer to accurate? Yeah, you're closer. The Renfo Smart Scale is not very accurate when you have abnormal amounts of muscle mass. So that's what I mentioned in the video reviewing it. I said, listen, if you want to go with this Smart Scale, besides your body mass index and your weight and a couple other parameters, as long as the body fat percentage is going down, just like on the in-body test, then you're making progress. But you can't, it's just a number that's not very accurate. So if you want to do a most accurate test, 7-fold skin caliper test or DEXA scan. This is the way. Post the same question 3 times. It keeps getting deleted. Yeah, we have moderators, and maybe you're asking something that shouldn't be asked. So keep trying. But I have a very aggressive spam filter. So my sincere apologies. Keep trying. How can you run clenbuterol for until you're shredded? Or you get the side effects. Oral minoxidil works as a vasodilator. So what makes it better for hair loss than other vasodilators, such as daily Tadalafil and some blood pressure meds? Well, you apply it topically. So you get a localized vasodilating effect. And that might improve blood flow more than taking Tadalafil systemically. But then again, GHK copper, applying that locally, or topically, right? Or palmitate GHK, which actually permeates into the skin. That seems to grow hair at the site of administration also. So maybe combine GHK copper, palmitate, GHK, or minoxidil with systemic Tadalafil and then hit it from all angles. Mr. Steve, episode 5 of Anabolic Roundtable, you've mentioned getting from 92 kilos to 110 kilos and leaner. What was your caloric intake? 2,500 calories. or 2,800, depending on the day. Is it possible to get bigger and leaner without growth hormone? Many things. No, I'm growing into muscle memory. I used to be 120 kilos, so for me, growing back into the muscle mass that I used to have doesn't require so much food and less steroids. But then again, I was on 10 IUs of growth hormone and Increlex and whatnot. So don't expect the same results as I do or I had, because I live this shit 24/7, and I used to take 2.5 grams of gear and used to eat like 6,000 calories per day. So, right, what happens to me is not the same as what can happen to you. Methylene blue dose, start with 3 milligrams daily or on workout days and work your way up. Some people top out at 25 milligrams per day. Right? Everybody's different, and it depends if you're using other mitochondrial support aids. Because if you combine methylene blue at a low dose with SLU, PP332, MOTC, NAD+, nicotinamide mononucleotides, 5-amino-1-Q, whatever else, then the dose can be significantly lower compared to when you run it solo. So people say in the comment section, oh, methylene blue only works from 10 milligrams upwards. And if you run it solo, yeah, maybe you need more. But if you run it by itself, 5 milligrams with SLU, man, fuck. Some potent shit. Thoughts on MK677 with metformin? I have a video about that. I know control your caloric intake on MK677, even though it makes you hungry. Yeah, I have a video on this, man. Just watch it. Steve, I managed to crush estradiol somehow below 19. That's not crushed. Unless the reference range says below 19 and it doesn't go any lower. Currently in Tier T plus HCG, should I change something? No, just give yourself 4 to 6 weeks and it will come back. Give it some time. I just answered that. This stuff bodybuilding. What's up, Steve? With daylight savings, I ended up making a live from Tasmania, Australia. All right. Good to see you, bro. Hope you're doing well, Xavier. I'll be flying to the Mr. Olympia tomorrow. Are you coming? You should come. Have fun. Do you have like a sick protocol when you get sick? No, I just write it out. I looked into sick protocols many times, and it's just all the same nonsense. I increased my injectable glutathione intake from 1,800 milligrams once per week to 600 milligrams per day, and now my ass cheeks hurt. Yeah. Would it be a benefit splitting T3 to 3 times per day versus 2 times per day to keep more stable levels? No, I think twice per day is more than enough, man. I think that's more than enough. Till then, MOTC isn't banned? I don't know. I thought it was on the prohibited list, but I didn't really look at it scrupulously. But it was added somewhere. But again, I'll do some more research. I just glanced over it real quickly. Is caffeine a dilator or constrictor? I think both. But it depends on the dose and the context. Fuck, now I'm going hypo. Great. This is what happens when you don't eat all day and your low body fat levels. What do you think of IV ephedrine? I don't know. It sounds a bit rough. But if you got a bee sting and you go into anaphylactic shock, then you probably need it. Yeah, but for bodybuilding, just do sub-Q, man. All right. Quran, you're blocked. Get the fuck out of here with your spams. Let's see. Xavier asks, I would if I could next year, my friend. I don't know if you saw the craziness going on in my life. Yeah, I saw it. Fucked up, man. Just get that sorted first, and then we hope to see you at the Mr. Olympia. I might not be there next year because I'm expecting my wife to be pregnant, or at least we have a kid, and I don't want to miss a week, man. I don't want to miss a week. But yeah, if we still don't have a kid by that time, then I'll just swing by. Onirosis was going to go on an aggressive cut for only 3 to 4 weeks. Done the before this time, I want to add in Retatrutide. Can I do this, or is Retatrutide better for more longer sustained cuts? Depends on how fast you get hungry. For me, it usually takes a couple of weeks before I really get uncontrollably hungry. So I added in the Tirzepatide after 4 months of dieting or something. Again, my diets are long and not that aggressive. So once you start noticing that you get uncontrollably hungry and it's getting difficult to function, then just throw it in. Well, that's what the drugs are there for. If you can't control your appetite and your cheat meals are so exorbitant that you just sit yourself back a week, then yeah, throw in the Retatrutide, man. If you can afford it. And that's why we have discount codes. It's all my affiliates and sponsors. Control F source lists is where you need to look. Chris Donan had a regular blood test and my total testosterone was 593 after 3 months of 300 milligrams twice a week. What can be the cause of my test being in the middle range? Sounds that your testosterone is trash. And 300 milligrams twice per week, your testosterone should be 900. If not higher. No, not even 900. Should be like 2,500, man. Yeah. Sounds like your testosterone is not even real. Sounds like a natural testosterone level. Or a lab error that happens also. We call the lab, double check. Thoughts on dosing injectable L-Carnitine above 500 milligrams would save 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams. I think that above a certain amount, it inhibits thyroid function, even though thyroid levels on serum might still be exactly the same. So I always kept it to 500 milligrams sub-Q pre-workout or pre-fasted cardio and never had an issue sticking at that dose. But I don't know, if you want to ramp it up higher, go for it. But I think it's better if you throw in a couple different compounds than just the injectable L-Carnitine, because how much fatty acids can you shuttle into the mitochondria? Upregulate the mitochondria instead. SLU, PP332, MOTS-C, etc., etc., etc. And then combine all of that together. Optimize, don't megadose. Can I DM you my question on Instagram since I keep getting blocked? I haven't been spamming, no ideas. Yes, but only if it's under the name Joshua, because the last time somebody did that, it was something else. So send me on Instagram DM. And if somebody else asks this, I'm going to block you on Instagram too, because last time somebody just, like, this is humanity nowadays. So send me on Instagram. And if the name isn't Joshua, then I'm not going to read it. Is it worth testosterone depot brand name or US compounding testosterone cypionate? It's the same. No, it's all different. Testosterone depot is testosterone enanthate by Bayer, and testosterone cypionate is compounded. So if it's legit from either or, then it should work fine. All right, Joshua. His question is, my wife is struggling with libido. Let me remove this. Yeah, I think I can just copy it from here. From Instagram. 1 second. Show it on the screen. How do you like that auto reply, bro? All right, so Joshua asks, my wife is struggling with libido, had a good libido before pregnancy with her daughters. Her total testosterone came back at 15 nanograms per deciliter and free 0.3 picograms per milliliter. She's 28, TRT, a bad idea. Not planning on more kids, not worried about it. Okay, so assuming that she lives and eats healthily, maybe look at the 25 milligrams DHEA to bring her testosterone and estradiol levels a little bit up, and reduce the stress in her life. Because if you have daughters and they're all young, and they're running around and you're not sleeping enough, then obviously libido will never be as good, even if you put her on 25 milligrams DHEA per day. So fix the lifestyle and then look at the DHEA. That seems to resolve libido for most women. And otherwise, it's 2.5 milligrams Anavar, 5 milligrams Anavar. That will get the job done also. But again, sleep needs to be there, food needs to be there, lifestyle needs to be there, and stress needs to be low. Because with stress and no sleep, libido will never be good, unfortunately. All right, where are we? So is this how Kevin Lovroni grew into the show? Muscle memory, yes. Yeah, muscle memory. He barely improved most shows. Also, episode 5 of Anabolic Roundtable, DECA is category D. Is that a bit harsh? No. The only real practical application I see is joint lubrication. So, but that's our opinion. So it's an opinion, right? Based on our experience. So if you don't agree with it, that's fine. You can put Nandrolone in A tier or S tier. That's entirely up to you. It's your body. You can choose what you want to use and how you classify it. Really looking forward to episode 6 with the orals. Yeah, so it'll drop in a couple weeks. Aaron, on 400 milligrams testosterone, 200 milligrams Primo, 300 milligrams of Masteron, 8 I use growth hormone, 10 I use Lantus. When I aim 1 gram per 1 pound of body weight for protein, can I get 3 grams of leucine per lane unless I do 4 meals per day given weight? Jeez, all these, I always have to decipher everything. I need a fucking interpreter for some of these questions. Reduce carbs for 6 meals with 3 grams of leucine per meal. I don't know what the question is, man. Just if you want more leucine, add BCAAs. do 6 meals per day for this much gear. I did 6 meals per day, and I was on similar amount of gear in total. Man the fuck up, man. Eat the food if you want to grow. Tim L. Hey, coach, always had high estradiol, TRT at 50 milligrams 3 times per week, quarter Arimidex 1 times per week, 12% body fat, and still just over the range. Is the Arimidex okay long-term, low dose? Any advice? I switched to Aromacin 6.25 milligrams 3 times per week, quarter Arimidex. Yeah, I would switch to Aromacin because the Arimidex actually prevents the breakdown of cholesterol. So cholesterol levels are higher, but that's the only real difference between Aromacin and Anastrozole. So Anastrozole is less healthy when it comes to your lipid levels compared to Aromacin. So that's why I always recommend Aromacin over Anastrozole. And it might be 6.25 milligrams 1, 2, 3 times per week, right? But everybody responds differently, so keep doing your blood work. And then take it from there. But if your estrogen is a little bit on the high side, but you don't have any issues, right? Your blood pressure isn't high, you don't get any gyno, no acne, your libido isn't affected, then just leave it there, man. Right? You just numbers on paper. If you don't have any symptoms, then there's nothing to treat. Do you have any collabs and podcasts already planned when you go to the United States? No. No, this time, no. I thought about staying a little bit longer and go to LA to do a couple podcasts, but I think as soon as I'm done there, I want to go home. So no, I'll wing it, man. I'll wing it. I've been so busy with personalized advice. It's I barely had time to prepare anything. And again, I'm working less than before, so I don't know. I'll just see who wants to collab, and then we'll collab. TRT4T. Have you noticed an increase in size yet with the Bathmate study? Yeah, it's a little bit fuller, a little bit meatier, but I haven't really measured. Yeah, and unfortunately, of course, today is I'll have a 2-week break, so I'll probably just have to restart because I only did 2 weeks on the protocol. And again, guys, if you want to join in, show me a proof of Bathmate ownership, whether you have previously owned a Bathmate or use my discount code. Email it over to info@vigorosteve.com, and I'll send you the protocol so you can join in. It's not for the faint of heart, but it might add a couple inches of, no, not a couple inches, but maybe an inch of girth and length, and well, what's an extra inch, right? Could be a world of difference. Lugo, I keep seeing TRT providers with doctors saying that testing estradiol is a waste of time and not needed. Thoughts on that? Quacks. Fucking quacks. These guys will later on give you a discount code and a referral for gynecomastia surgery and then blood pressure medications and blah, 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 blah. So check your estradiol levels, check all your hormone markers, check all of your markers in general, and adjust accordingly. There are not irrelevant markers out there. They're all relevant. Don't check your cancer markers. It's irrelevant. Just wait until you have cancer. That's basically what they're saying. Sorry, send here super chat won't chant. You're a member, so you don't need the super chat. You just ask your question and I'll see it. Just follow up. When you transfer Ovitrol to a vial, are you mixing it back to your static water? Yeah, so Ovitrol is 0.5 milliliters. You mix in 0.8 milliliters back to your static water for 5,000 IUs HCG per 1 milliliter for a total volume of 6,500 per 1.3 milliliters of solution. And that way, if you want 500 IUs HCG, all you have to do is draw a 0.1 milliliter or 10 IUs on the insulin syringe. So again, 0.5 milliliters Merck Ovitrol HCG plus 0.8 milliliters back to static water for 6,500 IUs per 1.3 milliliters of solution, which is 5,000 IUs per 1 milliliter. If you want 500 IUs, all you need is 0.1 milliliter or 10 IUs on the insulin syringe. Right? Watch this back a couple times until you get it. I added 200 milligrams Deca 8 weeks ago to my 300 milligrams testosterone enanthate cycle and 25 milligrams daily of Anavar, and I must say that it's been a positive boost so far. Hence, was surprised to see you and other lads giving it a low mark. Yeah, but so 200 milligrams Deca is exactly what we recommended, right? 200 milligrams, 100 milligrams, 150 milligrams per week for joint lubrication. But anything beyond that, it just gives you diminishing returns. And I would rather add in more Primo or more Boldenone or more Trenbolone. Well, Trenbolone and Deca together is a bit of a risky endeavor. But let's say you wanted 1,000 milligrams of anabolics per week, besides the Anavar, then you would do like 300 tests, 200 Deca, and 500 Primo, and then the Anavar on top. And then you don't need an aromatase inhibitor, but you get boatload of anabolism. Ira, what do you think is the magic behind test, Tren, Anadrol combo Kirk mentioned? What you think low and effective dose for each would be more synergy, only larger amounts? So it seems that based on what Kurt said, you have the genomic responses and non-genomic responses, right? A test has both. And then there's some additional non-genomic responses from Anadrol, and Trenbolone has the glucocorticoid receptor inhibition. So, right, you have all these additional benefits, and that's why particular combinations are so more effective on a milligram for milligram basis compared to running a gram of test alone or 500 test and 500 Tren. Right? You would probably do like 350 test, 350 Tren, and 350 Anadrol for a result of 2,000 milligrams of test alone. So this is why stacking is so important. How much of a net result you would get your hands dirty and figure it out. Figure it out. What's the discount code? So there's no discount code. You just have to follow the link. So I think is the link down below. No, the link is not down below, but it's in the previous one. So let me. It's just bathmate.com/vigorous-steve, I think. Yeah, it is. All right, let me link it down below. God, I shouldn't be fasting today. I'm going so fucking hypo right now. Let me remove this. All right, it's linked down below. Thank God for ketogenic diets. You can still stay cognitive or you're going hypo. Benjamin Heights, how much is the shelf life after transferring overtrill and bacteriostatic water to a sterile vial? I would say 2 weeks, which is more than enough time to, or 3 weeks, more than enough time to run through everything. Is Gunasi a good brand of HCG? It's urine purified, and the potency is 80% from what I remember. So no, I would say go with Overtrill. She gets plenty of sleep. I provided so she's not stressed. She's a stay-at-home mom. I'm active and present at work. The DHA doesn't work. You'd lean on 2.5 milligrams Anavar before a physiological dose of test. Yeah, so 25 milligrams DHA for 2 to 3 weeks. Then maybe add in the Anavar, and then look into hormone replacement therapy of testosterone, 0.5 milligrams sub-Q a couple times per week, which you'll probably have to get compounded because you cannot possibly administer 0.5 milligrams or 2 milligrams testosterone sub-Q from all the steroid brands that we have available. Even if you go with 100 milligrams per 1 milliliter testosterone propionate, I mean, that's like half an IU in the insulin syringe, right? So, yeah, difficult. Do you think Craig's testosterone is better than everybody else's? Just, I don't know. I haven't looked into it, man. But Craig is usually yapping about everything he talks about. So I don't know, man. Mike Freeman, it was your recommendation that made me go low 200 milligrams. So glad I didn't do more than that. So we're talking about Nandrolone, right? Also, what supplements any booster before? What? Also, do you supplement any boosters before day trading sessions? Keep losing focus after scalping on 1 minute chat. Talking about cryptocurrency? I don't do day trading sessions. I look at the market and I get my entries if I feel that they're needed, and then I wait a couple days. So I got my entries at 62. And I think it went up a little bit, but I haven't looked. Yeah, it went up $720. Well, let's see what happens over the weekend. I'm not too excited. So I take methylene blue dihexanupept when I need it, and that's my nootropics and the Gorilla Respawn here and there. Those are my nootropics of choice, but I don't minute day trade, man. Okay, well, we'll see your question pop up. Dubster Buster, would Primo, no matter how low the dose, be worse on the hair than 200 milligrams test per week? Would 75 milligrams Nandrolone be a great alternative to add to a TRT protocol? I don't know. It could be. Everybody's different, man. Like if you get hair loss from DHT derivatives, then obviously it's not a go-to, and then you need to add in maybe a low-dose Nandrolone. Or just use test, you know? D-Brad, in Mr. Iron's recent vid, he talked about how GLP-1s and GAPs can help build muscle. What are your thoughts on using GLPs in the off-season? That I don't agree with. It's purely an appetite suppressant and allows you to control your diet better when you're in a caloric restrictive state. But I don't think that GLP-1s or GAPs can help build muscle. But I've never looked into that pathway myself. So from what I know, no. Is the shelf life of Overdrill pen more if used only counting clicks? So if you keep it in the pen, then yeah, the shelf life would be 30 days because it's in an enclosed environment and it's self-sealing. So every time you click it down, there's no air or pollutants or other stuff going into the Ovitrol mixture. Whereas within urine purified HCG or when you transfer it to a sterile vial, that's obviously the case. And it's the pollutants and the bacteria from the surrounding air that metabolize or break down the HCG potentially. All right, my pleasure. Hope you got your money's worth. Risk of serotonin syndrome if you're using methylene blue, tesofensine 9-2 MBC. Did I have good results with? Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. You're combining a MAO inhibitor with a dopamine agonist and selective serotonin dopamine norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor. I don't think that's a good idea. So yeah, I would say that the risk is high. Personally, I would not make that combination. I can recommend you watch The Penguin. Yes, I will. But I will watch it when the entire season is done. I'm not going to do one. I just watch The Rings of Power every week, and every week you're like less interested. I mean, The Rings of Power is terrible, let's be honest. But I still wanted to watch it because then I can watch Critical Drinkers analysis of The Rings of Power, and that's very enjoyable. But you need to watch The Rings of Power before you can watch Critical Drinkers podcast and him trashing the show. So yeah, that was fun, right? You watch Rings of Power episode 8, and then you watch the trashing, and then you're overcompensated by the 1 hour that you spent watching the atrocious production. But The Penguin is good, so I'll watch that when it's done, just like Tulsa King season 2. Hopefully that finishes at the same time. So I'll watch Penguin season 1 and then Tulsa King season 1 and then 2 afterwards, because I can't remember for the life of me what happened in season 1. But I like the marathon shows. With close grip bench, should I lock out elbows? If it's for triceps, it's better to stop short of lockout. I haven't done close grip bench in a very long time. I do overhead tricep extensions and skull crushers. You should do a collab with the Critical Drinker. Yeah, but it will not be on YouTube. It'll be in some speakeasy with a screen, and then we can trash under the influence of some nice whiskeys and cigars. How's the cycle going, Steve? Good. I did my last shot today, and then tomorrow we travel, and then we'll do the whatever I can find. And if I can't find anything, then I'll just don't take anything, because we're a week out for the Mr. Olympia, so not pinning anything or taking anything for a week should be okay. I did my blood work. It's all normal. I just didn't get a time to record it because I had this fucking cold sore here, which looked horrible, and then I got a little bit of a flu, and I don't want to make a video where I'm talking about my blood work where I don't look good, because that kind of defeats the point, right? This guy says his blood work is good, but it looks like shit. So, you know how the audience is nowadays. They'll find everything to bring you down. So, Anyway, and I was very busy this week, so I didn't record really anything. But yeah, the cycle is good. So the test Masteron, Primo and Trenbolone cocktail is out. I removed the Anavar for Superdrol. That went well. I had a crazy week in the gym. That was fun, even though I was slightly sick. Set some PRs. I feel pretty fatigued now. So I'm going to do a little bit of a deload in the United States, taking whatever I can find. Took the growth hormone out. Took the Mirabegron out. Took the Mod C out. Still on Tirzepatide. Yeah, so we're coming to a close. Yeah, I'm ready to come off, man. It was a fun experiment. I went to BPC Fitness yesterday, where there's an IFBB pro and a guy from Bali, and they're all in contest prep. And I walk into the gym, and they're like, "What the fuck happened to you?" So hopefully, with a little bit of filling out for the Mr. Olympia next weekend, I'm about 107 kilos now. I think I can gain 3 more kilos, fill out, and then if I'm on 110 kilos at the expo, kg to pounds. Well, tomorrow will probably be 105 after 5. Yeah. Let's say I'm 240. Not as lean as Chase Irons or some of the other guys, but I'll look respectable. Yeah, then I'll be happy. And that's certainly a lot better than the 200 measly pounds I was last year. To give you more context of what Chase was saying, Steve, he was saying you can use Retatrutide at a very small dose at 0.751 milligrams per week in the off-season at a dose where you don't get appetite decrease. Yeah, but I don't see... I mean, I got a hardcore appetite decrease in 1 milligram Retatrutide 3 times per week. So, but he's talking 1 milligram per week, right? So, no, I don't see the pathway and how this can cause muscle growth. But I don't know. I'll see Chase Irons next week. He can enlighten me. What was your favorite bodybuilding guru or YouTube channel back in the days when you were at the beginning of your journey? I don't know. Most of them were just... There's so many flaws. I like Derek's content. That's why I got in touch with Derek early on, because he was one of the few guys that actually made sense. But besides that, most of the bodybuilding gurus, just there were so many flaws, I mean, Dave sometimes had good content, and most of the time it was just horseshit. Of course, I don't want to go to his audience again, sending me and my wife death threats, so please fuck off. Boston Lloyd had occasional interesting content, but sometimes it was too extreme for my liking. Same with Rich Piana, right? Interesting content, but I didn't really follow any of it. So after a while, I was like, you know what? If you want to do it right, you just got to do it yourself. And now with Alec Matrevsky and Kurt Havens and Dr. Dean St. Martin, Chase Irons and Paul Burnett, and all these guys that I frequently collaborate with, I finally found a group of people that I can mostly agree with, right? And of course, you have to Think Big Bodybuilding. Think Big, yeah, I can't forget Think Big. I Think Big Bodybuilding Media, Scott McNally and everybody that he has on, I think I learned the most out of those guys from YouTube, Yeah. Skip Hill, Andrew Barry, right? All those guys that Scott or Scott Stevenson, right? That is basically my favorite bodybuilding YouTube channel, and that goes back all the way until they didn't have Think Big. They had Advices Radio, and that was just a download, right? So, if my favorite bodybuilding guru channel is probably just Think Big, yeah, you should subscribe if you haven't already. Oh, did I lose? Yeah, shit. 1 second. 1 second. I touched the thing, and now it's broken. All right, I'm back. Where are we? Here. Let me link Think Big down below. There we go. 30,000 subscribers. It's criminally undersubscribed. So if you're not subscribed yet, go fucking do it. I command you to. How much is a full body MRI? In Thailand, 2,500, 3,000 baht, $100. Not that bad. But get benefits in nutrient partitioning and insulin sensitivity, as well as reduced fat deposition in liver during the off season, because glucagon from Retatrutide, so all non-appetite benefits. Yeah, but if you're in the caloric surplus, then insulin sensitivity in the glucagon is just going to be mitigated from being in a caloric surplus. So that doesn't make sense to me. But again, I'll talk with Chase Irons and get his ideas, and then I'll do some more research. But I've never researched any of these GLP-1s in the context of off-season, so I might be mistaken here, but it doesn't make sense to me. Ideal dose of intranasal oxytocin, I would say 10 IUs to 100 IUs. Start low, build your way up. Yeah. For libido, I'm assuming. Sven, all right. Is there a question? Another one. Where's your question, bro? Post it. Benjamin Heights. Who would you recommend to get a consultation for hair loss prevention on gear? Well, not me. I know, Ty Clark. He's specialized in that stuff, but he'll probably send you to Nandrolone only. So, I know I rarely get hair loss consultations, and it's always the same shit, you know. Control your DHT, get all the micronutrients in, and maybe use topical ketoconazole with dutasteride to block the androgen receptors and 5-alpha reductase activity, and that's pretty much the gist of it. Then again, I'm not a specialist, so... In my country, that's $1,800. What, for a full-body MRI? Oh, full-body MRI. Sorry, I thought you meant a DEXA scan. A DEXA scan is 2005. This is like $80 or $100. Full-body MRI here will be, yeah, about $1,000. Yeah, depending on the machine and how accurate it is. Because you have the 1.5 Tesla and the 3 Tesla, but some of them use AI upscaling and artificial intelligence to make it a little bit more detailed. So, yeah, the Primo is like the full body is what, 2,000, 2,500? I just did a full body ultrasound and an echocardiogram and all that stuff, and it was all normal. So I was like, you know what, I can skip the Primo for another couple of years. All right. I think I'm going to have to eat some food now. fucking blurred. Did you ever use injectable Anavar? No, never. Never found it. All right. To touch on the latest ester talk, did you ever notice much difference between cypionate and enanthate in terms of water retention and overall look and effect? Cypionate never did shit for me, so it makes total sense that Kurt wants to investigate it. I knew from a very long time ago that enanthate works well, so that's masteron enanthate, methanol enanthate, Primo, or testosterone enanthate. And acetate works well for me, so that's Trenbolone acetate. So I stick with acetate and enanthate. Cypionate never really did much for me. So testosterone cypionate, I got less of a response. And now that Kurt is investigating it, because it seems that there's a cap on cypionate metabolism, at least in some individuals, because of course everybody jumped in the comment section, I use cypionate and my blood levels are this high. And there's always outliers in individual response, but hopefully Kurt can piece it together. And that would be a very interesting study for the community. But I noticed a clear difference between enanthate and cypionate, and that's why I'd stick with enanthate esters. But I'm not you and you're not me, so if cypionate works for you, then stick to cypionate. David Chan, have you ever considered a video series detailing acceptable ranges of blood work results specifically for bodybuilders? Like every blood work video that I have where I discuss this, or where I discuss the blood work panel that I have with Merrick Health, it's all on my channel, man. It's all there. I explained it like a multitude of different times in multitude of different videos. So there doesn't need to be a series for that. It's all there, man. How could I tell somebody to start checking his blood pressure and do blood work without sounding like a smarty pants? I want to help the guy. He hasn't done blood work in 4 years. His coach gives 2 shits about it. Just tell him once, and then your job is done. Your obligations are done, because people are stubborn and stupid as fuck. And don't waste your time, man. If people want to kill themselves, let them. If people want to self-delete, let them. It's not your responsibility. So you can tell somebody, and if they don't listen to you, that means they don't respect your opinion, and then your job is done. I'm in a business of people come to me every single day with blood work questions and want to pay for my services. So I realized a long time ago that if you put yourself into a position where you have knowledge, people are gladly willing to pay for it, and they're willing to spend an arm and a leg for it and do the blood work out of pocket right away without insurance. So some people can be helped and some people can't. It's then if you hasn't done blood work in 4 years, what are you going to do? What are you going to change? This guy will need to get himself unhealthy before he does blood work. And then you get to tell him, I told you so. So, it's not your responsibility, man. Everybody's responsible for their own health. And if they don't want to do blood work, that's just stupid. Let the universe take care of it. You know, it's not like the entire bodybuilding community doesn't talk about doing blood work, right? I mean, everybody fucking talks about doing blood work. Me and Chase are the only ones with the balls to post it. But everybody else talks about it. So don't just talk about it, be about it. That's what I always say. And then, you know, hopefully we can inspire some people to get their head out of their ass. But most bodybuilders have their head so far up their ass that they can literally tongue their prostate. Well, you know what I mean. Benjamin, considering blood work and DEXA is free for me, what frequency should you test? DEXA when you feel you made progress and want to see where you're at, and blood work every month. I do blood work every month. Yeah, I do blood work every month, and the costs are not an issue. Bernie gets it. Bernie Sanders Bernie gets it. I do it every month, man. Even when I'm off cycle. It's just I don't always post the results because it's not something interesting going on. And I just don't want to, you know, the editing time that I have to do, sometimes I just don't feel like it. But I do it every month. I've done blood work over 130 times, and I continue to do it every month, or at least every 6 weeks, whether I'm on cycle or off cycle, blasting my socks off, doing something moderate. I just want to see the data, and when I have a problem, then I can address it right away before it gets serious, right? But I don't stick my head in the sand or my head up my own ass. I drink my own Kool-Aid once in a while, but because you guys give me so many compliments. But yeah, if I want to be ahead of the curve, man. Mike, last question for today. In your opinion, what would be the most effective caloric deficit when it comes to the duration of the diet and minimal muscle loss on Tier 3+? A 10% caloric deficit. 10% makes it sustainable, makes it feel like you're not on a hard diet until you're about 8% body fat. And then it starts to hurt. So, slight caloric deficit that's sustainable. Will you notice it? Fat loss-wise, but not mood-wise, not appetite-wise. But at one point, you might have to suffer down if you really want to get lean. You know, it sucks. It's just part of the game. Any concerns while drinking coconut water while until Masartan? You're worried about high potassium levels? I mean, everything you consume has potassium, from the animal meat sources to the vegetables to everything. So no, I would not worry about it unless you drink like 4 coconuts per day. I would be more worried about the diarrhea than the high potassium levels. All right. We've gone on for 2 hours. I'm going to go eat some food. I'm pretty fucking tired. Let's see. Okay, so quick reminder. If you're coming to the Mr. Olympia, come to booth 201. I'll be there Friday and Saturday most of the days, unless I'm at the Mr. Olympia University speaking from 1 to 2 p.m. for the TRT and PED panel, part 1, scheduled on Saturday, October 12th, 1 to 2 p.m. Then I'll be there. Right? Get your 30% discount with speaker 30 is a discount code. So instead of $100 for the entire weekend at the Olympia University, you only pay $70. Let's see, I posted the floor plan down below under Chase Irons and Friends booth 201. So you can find us right behind the Mutant booth. Before the Ziegler Monster booth. He's got his own booth. We needed to split it because we're just shit influencers, and Ziegler Monster is a S-tier influencer. What else? Subscribe to Think Big Bodybuilding Media, link down below. Right, do me a solid. Mirabegron deep dive, go give that a watch. I didn't do all this self-experimentation for you guys not to watch it. So go fucking watch it, please. Next weekend, there will be no Vigorous Q&A. because I will be at the Mr. Olympia Expo Q&A with everybody that shows up. On Saturday, nobody will be live streaming anything because it will be the Mr. Olympia, and you guys will either be watching the live stream or watching all the contest coverage. So next weekend, we're excused. The next Vigorous Q&A will be on Saturday, 19th of October. So 2 weeks from now. I'm sure you guys will. Be able to handle a weekend without me. If you're at the Mr. Olympia, just come say hi, okay? If you see me walking, just stop me. I don't really care. That's the reason why I'm there for. So I don't want to hear from you guys. I saw you at the Mr. Olympia and I was too scared to say hi. Don't fucking give me this bullshit reason. Just come say hi or come meet me at booth 201 because I would love to meet the fans. That's the reason why I fly to the US. To meet all of you guys and see how much juicier you got from last year, because I do expect you fuckers to make some fucking progress. All right, so if I see you this year and you didn't approve, then you have to unsubscribe. I don't want to hear it. All right, guys, peace out. Enjoy your weekend. I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna go to the airport 4 hours from now, so. And I better get a meal in because I'm dead fucking tired. And I'm going hypo still. So, okay. Peace out. See you in 2 weeks. And otherwise, see you at the Mr. Olympia. Come say hi. I would love to meet you there. Peace out.